The rain was falling so hard that I could barely see the road ahead. My windshield wipers moved back and forth quickly, but the water kept coming like the sky had broken open. I gripped the steering wheel tighter and tried to stay calm. It was already past 10 at night, and I was driving alone through a long stretch of empty road. There were no houses, no shops, not even street lights, just tall trees on both sides and the endless sound of rain hitting the roof of my car. My name is Sarah Miller. I'm 25 years old, white, and I live in a small town in Oregon. That night, I had been driving back from a friend's place in the city. We had spent the day together, and I didn't notice how late it had become. I thought I could make it home before midnight, but now the storm had slowed me down. I glanced at my phone to check the time, but the screen was black. My battery had died. I cursed under my breath. No phone meant no GPS, no way to call for help. The road felt longer than I remembered, and the darkness around me made it worse. Then, without warning, my car started making a strange noise, like a cough or a groan. I frowned and pressed the gas pedal, but the engine struggled. A few seconds later, the car slowed down until it came to a complete stop. The sound of the rain grew louder in the sudden silence. My heart began to race. I tried turning the key again, but the engine wouldn't start. I sat there for a moment, gripping the wheel, my mind spinning. The storm outside was wild, and I didn't see any other cars passing by. I was stuck in the middle of nowhere. I told myself to stay calm. Maybe someone would drive by soon. Maybe I could wait it out until the rain stopped. But deep down, I knew that the road was too quiet for that. I opened the glove box and took out the small flashlight I kept there. I would have to get out and check if I could see what was wrong. The wind blew hard as soon as I stepped outside, sending cold water against my face. My hair stuck to my cheeks, and the rain soaked my jacket within seconds. I popped the hood and shone the flashlight inside. The truth is, I didn't know much about cars. Everything under the hood looked like a confusing mix of wires and metal parts. Still, I pretended to look like I was checking something just to make myself feel less helpless. That's when I heard it, the sound of footsteps splashing in the rain. I froze, my flashlight trembling in my hand. The road had been empty just a minute ago, but now someone was walking toward me. Slowly, I turned my head and saw a man coming out from the shadows between the trees. He was tall, wearing a dark coat and a hood that covered most of his face. The rain made it hard to see him clearly. My heart pounded in my chest as he got closer. "You need help?" he called out over the noise of the storm. His voice was deep, but not unfriendly. I hesitated. Every instinct told me to be careful. I didn't know who he was or why he was out here in the middle of the night, but I also knew I had no other choice. "My car, it won't start," I said, raising my voice so he could hear me. He came closer until he was standing a few feet away. Rain dripped from the edge of his hood. He gave my car a quick glance and then looked at me. "It's not safe to be out here alone," he said. "Do you want me to give you a ride?" The words sent a shiver down my spine. A ride. That was how horror stories began. I I don't even know you," I said carefully. He gave a small nod as if he understood my fear. "Name's Jack. I live about 10 miles down this road. There's a diner there where you can wait until the morning. I can take you." I looked at the dark road stretching behind him. 10 miles felt far, and walking in this storm was impossible. My choices were few. Stay in the dead car all night, or trust the stranger. Finally, I nodded. "All right, but let me grab my bag first." I quickly went to the passenger seat, picked up my bag, and locked the car. Jack led me to a black pickup truck parked on the side of the road. I climbed in, the leather seat cold against my legs. The inside of the truck smelled faintly of coffee and wet clothes. Jack started the engine, and the headlights lit up the road ahead. We drove in silence for a while, the sound of rain filling the space between us. I kept glancing at him from the corner of my eye. He kept his eyes on the road, hands steady on the wheel. His face was pale, with a bit of stubble on his chin, and his eyes seemed focused, too focused, like he was deep in thought. "So, what brings you out here in this weather?" he finally said. I told him about my day with my friend and how I was trying to get home. He nodded, but didn't share much about himself. "Do you live alone?" he asked suddenly. The question caught me off guard. Uh, yeah, why?" He shrugged, just making conversation. I didn't answer. Something about the way he asked made me uneasy. Minutes passed, and I noticed we were no longer on the main road. The truck had turned onto a narrower path surrounded by thick trees. I shifted in my seat. "I thought you said there was a diner down this road." There is, just taking a quicker way." The rain seemed louder now, the wipers moving frantically. I wrapped my hands around my bag, my mind racing with escape plans. Then I noticed something in the back seat, a dark bag, half open, with metal glinting inside. I leaned slightly to see better, and my stomach tightened. It looked like a gun. My breath caught in my throat. Jack must have seen my eyes in the mirror because he said, "Don't worry about that. It's not for you." Not for me. The words didn't make me feel better at all. I looked ahead and saw nothing but darkness. The trees seemed to close in on us, and the road grew bumpier. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over the rain. "Where exactly are we going?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "You'll see," he said simply. The headlights suddenly lit up an old wooden building at the end of the road. It looked abandoned, with boards across some windows and weeds growing around the porch. There were no other cars in sight. Jack slowed the truck and parked in front of it. He opened his door and stepped out. The rain swallowed him. I sat frozen, gripping my bag. My fingers were shaking. Then I heard it. Another sound, faint, but clear over the storm. Footsteps. Someone else was out there, moving toward the truck.